I'm basically an accompanist for silent films. I'm a cinema organist. I accompany silent films. That's what I do, and I've been doing so for 60 years. I'm the only one in the world that has been fully employed for the last 25 years in the same cinema, playing the same film as a silent picture organist. I was working since 1959 for the Sydney Film Festival. At that time, in 1971, they set up the Travelling Film Festival to take the 6 best films from the Sydney Film Festival on tour through regional Australia. In March in 1973, I got a call from David Stratton, who was the director of the Sydney Film Festival, and he asked me whether I was still keen on having the Travelling Film Festival up on the Sunshine Coast, and I said yes. I certainly was. And he said, right, well, find a venue and you've got it. And I said, well, okay, but how long have I got? And he said, 10 days. Well, I went around the Sunshine Coast to every running cinema, and these were the days when places were still running, like the Pacific Theatre Mooloolaba, the Star Theatre Maroochydore. All these places were still going, including the Strand and Caloundra. And I approached all the people and always got the same answer, that they weren't interested. Films with writing on the bottom, no way.
So people didn't want to read subtitles?
They didn't think that these were films that people would actually want to see or go to see. Eventually somebody said, well, there is a cinema in Pomona, and my partner and I drove over, and it had seen better days, put it that way. It was built in 1921, opened in November 1921, and right from the opening they had silent films there. And they had silent films through to 1931 when sound was put in. As it turned out, we averaged, I think it was about 180, 190 a performance. And the chap who owned the place, Harold Bazzo, was very embarrassed because he had never seen so many people in the place since the Second World War. And he felt, I can understand, he did feel a little bit cheapish about the whole thing. But there was nothing really in the area, and nobody was showing these sort of films. And I think that was where it took off. Mm. So my partner Mandy and I talked to him and convinced him that he should sell it to us, which he did. And within 3 months, I think 4 months, we had it running 7 nights a week and 3 matinees. Then we had a phone call. In 1987, we had a telephone call from a lady who was organising entertainment for a convention, and she wanted to know whether we could run a silent film. And I had one, so I said, yes, okay, I can do that. And so they brought up a coachload of 55, and the film I had was actually a print of The Son of the Sheik with Rudolph Valentino. I ran the film, and I had the organ in. I'd been putting it in for 2 years, and it was sort of going. Yeah, so we ran the film, and I made it up as I went along, and they fell about laughing, and that was all cool. And we thought, well, that was interesting, very interesting. And it turned out that there was a convention of travel agents. You can be lucky. Word spread, the phone started ringing, and after a couple of months it was very obvious that we were making a lot more money out of running silent films than we were out of running talkies. So we talked about it and made an executive decision. We turned off the sound system, scrapped the talkies, and went back to real pictures again, expecting it to last a few months as a curiosity. Well, ever since those first days in 1987, every Thursday night, plus matinees, Rudolph Valentino has galloped across the burning sands to rescue Vilma Banki in The Son of the Sheik. And that film's been running there now for just over 25 years. My father was 16 years old and playing in the pit of the local theatre when the first films were shown in 1896, and he was playing in the orchestra, and he played in the orchestra for the silent films right through to 1930 when sound was put in. I do remember them when I was a kid. I was born in 1933 and they weren't around then, but when I was about 8 or 9, a lovely old gentleman gave me a trunk of old films, of silent film of course, and an ancient projector. And I had this in the shed out in the back, and I used to crank this stuff through in the afternoon after school. It was absolutely fascinating. There wasn't a complete film in the whole thing, but it was just moving pictures. And I was absolutely fascinated with it. But silent film, you can't ignore it, because there's no soundtrack telling you what's happening, there's no dialogue to listen to, it's all there on the screen. And people find, I tell them to yahoo and stamp the floor and cheer the hero and do all the rest of it. They probably do for about three minutes, and then they go quiet. And they go quiet because they are totally sucked into the story. They're totally at one. It's quite an extraordinary experience, actually. And I know this might sound weird, but I actually go into the film. I become part of the film, and I'm vaguely aware that the audience is out there, but I'm not taking any notice of them. And I just change the mood as it suits the film, and I just ride the mood along with it. And I'm with the actors on the screen.
So you're channeling through your eyes,
yeah,
and then acting that out through your fingers.
Yeah. And as the end title comes up, you just resolve it all in a major chord and finish. Easy. I mean, I think it's terribly easy, but I've been doing it for a long time.